If you haven't been here before, 1 Million Cups is all about startups and how the community can help them. Our presenter today will get up here and talk about what it is the community can do to support, get behind them. It's a 6-minute presentation, 20 minutes of questions and answers from the community, helping understand the idea, helping if you know a connection, talking about that connection, or asking questions about possible connections. As always, we want to thank Kawa Coffee, who brought in the coffee, who supplies it every week and has done so for almost 2 years now. So, very appreciative, Kawa. And I'm also going to introduce our organizers. I'm Danielle Lightlock. We have Marianne Bowers. Betsy Torres is our new organizer with us. We have Chris Bennett. And Sean Kennedy, once he gets out of that dumpster, will be making it here.
I'll try to pull on it.
Oh, there he is. No haircut. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our presenter today, Nathan Schwagler with the Dali Museum Innovation Lab. Welcome, Nathan.
Good morning. Before I talk about the innovation labs, I think we need to have an open and honest discussion about pot. Oh my God. I'm a fan. In fact, some of the best ideas, the best moments in my life have come under the influence of pot. And by pot, I mean possibility-oriented thinking. What do you think? So my goal is to not only tell you a little bit about Dali's Innovation Labs, but to convince you that you should also be on the pot. I'm going to do it in 6 minutes. Hi, so I run the Dali Museum Innovation Labs. Previously, I was at USF St. Pete with Daniel James Scott, and Dr. Phil Jackson, teaching entrepreneurship. So I'm pretty sure she's on pot. And I love this picture, and to me it represents warming up. So that's actually what I want to do now is give you a quick challenge question. I want you to tell me what's half of 8? 4. I agree. What else might half of 8 be? 3. 3. Happy. 0. How about something non-numerical? M. Infinity.
EI and then part of the, like a C part of the G.
Or maybe the same thing that ancient T, right?
Pi is
so if you let this play out, and especially if you want to get away from the numbers, you can run this list out to 50, 60, 70, 80, 100. I've seen groups, they'll tell me half of 8 is leftovers. You're right. Half of 8 is a bad golf swing. It's like, oh. I love that. That's possibility-oriented thinking. That's what we do with the Dali Museum. So everything we do there is based off 3 foundational beliefs. The first one is that there's almost always more than one way to solve a problem. Just because you happen to have one way that you like, doesn't mean it's the best way or that there aren't others. 2, that creativity is a natural human phenomenon. Everyone's born with it, and you can get better at it. In 1972, there was a series of studies that were published and funded by the Navy, the Department of Education, and a couple other groups of academics called the Creative Studies Project. And it demonstrated that creativity was teachable, learnable, and that it sticks. So you can teach it, you can learn it, and it stays with you over time. Last but not least, I want to make the argument that creativity is the essential ingredient for innovation. You can have creativity without innovation, but you cannot have innovation without creativity. So I think what we really bring to the table is knowledge of these couple different categories of creativity. There are creativity tools such as brainstorming, techniques such as things that Dali was really great at. There are attitudes and behaviors, which really are important when it comes to leadership in particular. And then models and frameworks. Maybe you've heard of things like creative problem solving or design thinking or synectics or trees or Lego serious play or these different methodologies that help teams of people systematically create. A lot of people think that constraints or trying to put a box around creativity is the thing that will kill it. I want to make the argument that it's not. Actually, the inverse is true. And that especially if you want to have creativity at scale, you have to have frameworks, optimal frameworks in place. So we scientifically study all of these things, and then we want to deploy them in 3 horizontal markets with 3 unique value propositions. The first one we call Stash Labs. So basically, that brand-approved icon coming soon, I promise. Laugh at the jokes. So ideation's the first one. So companies will come to us when they need new ideas. You need new product development, new service design, you want to solve a problem, etc. Come in and we'll design and facilitate your brainstorming, your session, or regardless of whether we use brainstorming or not. We have any number of tools we can use. For example, a company came to us recently and they wanted to redesign the Chuck Taylor. Anybody seen the new redesign that came out? Pretty cool. So they came down from Boston and had a session. Sometimes after a company's done with the Stash Labs, they'll say, hey, you're really great, we love that, but we want to do it at our company all the time. We don't want to pay you every single time. At first we were like, oh, it's going to cannibalize a business, et cetera. But now we're coming to the idea that we should really have a corporate training arm. So we've been doing that for a couple of years now too. For example, we work with the Home Shopping Network at various levels of the organization, from the C-suite all the way down to the front line, around capacity building inside the company, around creativity and innovation. So teaching creative problem solving at different levels. And then the last thing we want to do is we want your retreats. I think it's really easy for companies to go off-site and they go out of town, they go down to Miami, they go to Fort Lauderdale, they'll maybe go over to Orlando, et cetera, for the company retreats. You can support the museum by hosting your off-site retreat at the museum, and we'll tee up some creativity sessions and sort of serve up a good experience for you in that way. For NDA reasons, I couldn't name the company, but it was a cybersecurity company that recently came to us for their off-site, and they'd recently gone through a management change, and then actually this new ownership came in and bought the company, and then the regional partners from around the United States all needed to get on sort of the new plan, the new page. They'd been eating what they killed for a long time individually and sort of as teams in different markets, but they had to come into under new management. So we were able to facilitate that. We led off with some programming around reframing problems, looking at situations from new perspectives, et cetera, very Dalinian thinking. And then it opened them up to the idea of the new leadership team, et cetera. We're going to do some new product development, consumer and enterprise apps, and in terms of examples, unless you want to work with us. Good. So what makes it special? So we've got Dali, the largest collection of Dali masterworks in the world. We have this extraordinary collection of surrealist art here. We've got digital content that's already been created by the education department that can be leveraged, but then also copyright. So it's really, really important for us. Dali Museum is a physical space that's extraordinary. It's the only 3-star Michelin cultural attraction in the southeastern United States. Beaches and weather, we break records for a reason. We're already a destination, so it's easier to get people to want to come here, especially if you're up and down the eastern seaboard during January or something like that. Foresight, Lego Serious Play are 2 tools that we use that we're certified in that very few people are. And the network of practitioners that we have in collaboration with the International Center for Studies and Creativity allows us to scale because we have a team around the world that we use for on-demand. Things that you can help with, that we want, bring us a challenge, so we put it into a Stash Labs program, bring us a corporate learning opportunities, we build a skills lab around it, bring us your retreat business, we want to support that, bring us your tech talent if you want to work on new product development with us. And last but not least, if you've got somebody, a friend or a colleague who works in corporate education, HR, talent development, I'd love an introduction. Thank you.
Could you talk a little bit more about your plans to scale that? I noticed it on the last slide there. How would you envision scaling this program?
Yes, the ceiling for us is, how many people have been to the Dali Museum? If you want to come to the Dali right after this program, we've got Coffee with the Curator happening at 10:30, where you're going to get a behind-the-scenes sneak peek at the library. So you've got one of the world's greatest collections of resources, a replica of Dali's library, and also the Morse family, who supply the Dali Museum with all their work. they did a really great job of inventorying personal communication and letters and memos, etc. So come join us for that. And to answer your question, thanks for asking. What was your question? So the Raymond James Community Room is the primary community space on the first floor. It's where we hold the majority of our workshops. So essentially, if we max out or optimize that space Monday through Friday during business hours, that's kind of the cap on what we can do on site. In year 2 in our business plan, so I've been prototyping this experience at the museum for 2.5 years, and then I've been full-time at the museum for a couple months now. But our vision is for in year 2 to have an off-site road team. So we get an email maybe once a month, sometimes in the southeast, and then as far as the ways Australia, will you come to us? All right, so we need a roadshow team. So that is one way that we can scale to have that off-site delivery. And then the third way is through, we're actually trying to work out a deal to deliver our first MOOC. So a massive open online course where we provide, because we have such great content and expertise in that museum that it could really be pushed out through existing channels in really meaningful ways. In ways that also feedback and we can tie some of our products back into that as optional add-ons, etc. on top of the MOOC.
How did the innovation labs evolve? What's the vision?
Yeah, cool question. So I was one of the founders of TEDx Tampa Bay, and we had TEDx Tampa Bay at the Dali right when it first opened, and the guy who runs the museum, Hank Hine, Dr. Hank Hine, got up and did this great, off the top of his head, version of Thoreau, and I was just like, who is this guy? The guy's phenomenal. I don't know how many people know Hank. He's a really extraordinary guy. So afterwards, I came up to him and I said, I really want more of Hank in my life. How can I do this? And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, this is a really great space. I've been flying around doing this kind of work at companies as a consultant for a long time. And I was getting tired of being on airplanes, and the connection just hit us. This is a beautiful space. People should come here and do great thinking and do great work, not just come here and look at art. And I pitched it to Hank that way. He said, okay, prove it. They gave me a small budget a year, and then I did that. And he said, okay, year 2, let's make the budget bigger, do more of it. And then year 3, the opportunity came to do it full time.
What's your pricing model?
So for each one of the services, it's unique. For Stash Labs, we have to customize based off the amount of pre-work, and then what they want is deliverable, and then whether or not we're bringing in trained brains as well. Because sometimes we want naive experts, or people who have expertise in an adjacent discipline to what the company wants ideas around. So for example, we're doing work for a military brewing company. So we fly to Chicago, and they were looking at the time, really wanting to own the idea of Rocky Mountain Fresh, Rocky Mountain Cold, et cetera, that sort of thing. So a trained brain in that example would be people who are professional ice cream makers, right? Or people who work in the mint industry.
So do you have like an initial engagement to determine like what the costing is going to be?
Yeah, so for the Stash Labs, things are built around a cost plus model. So what does it cost us to design it, run it, produce the deliverables? So we'll bring in artists, we'll do other things that sort of add value. The corporate training is a per cap model, so we know how much the course is going to cost to run. We know what our profit margin needs to be at, so we just charge by the seat. And then the company, sort of depending on the quality of food you want, that sort of thing, it could be variable in that way. And then under the leadership retreat model, we're really trying to get the high end of the market on that one. Really customize how to curate experiences that also involve helicopter rides and sailboats and golf and that sort of thing. If you're going to get an executive team to fly in, you've got to give them those dollars. Yeah.
So many years ago, I experienced a Synectics training, as you mentioned in your
Synectics?
Yeah, it was just really a fascinating experience. What you're describing sounds real similar to what they're doing. Can you describe the difference between what you're doing and Synectics or some of the other competition?
Yeah, there may be 6 or 8 competing models of practitioners around the world, and everyone's got their own spin on how you deliver creative problem-solving experiences. They have more in common than they do differences, I guess, differentiation. So they're one of the family of practitioners. I mean, I see Synectics colleagues and practitioners at conferences that I go to all the time. We work together. So I use their stuff.
Would your business model invite you or attract you to collaborating with an innovator with a newly obtained patent in the marketing of said patent?
Yeah, so the marketing to me represents a portfolio of creative problem-solving challenges, right? Like to achieve sort of awareness or to help people make decisions, et cetera. Those are really just great problem-solving challenges. So yes, and we're not set up to really deal with one-on-ones as much. We're really trying to target corporations.
It seems like a way to scale this beyond the valley itself is to take, I think museums probably nationwide, worldwide, are looking for other ways to generate revenue beyond the convention. Is there, do you see like and beyond special events, right? I think a lot of them figured out, okay, because the wedding, make some money there. It seems like you've gone beyond that. Are there any parts of your program that could actually be developed into like a model or curriculum that you would license to other museums in terms of scale?
Yeah, so the executive director of the Dali Museum gets that question quite a bit when he goes to conferences and presents and talks about the innovation labs, because this lets an organization earn support in the community as opposed to hand in hand. Help us, we're a museum, you should really just give us your money. Instead, let's be a service provider, let us add value, let us help you create value, and that way you can support us in that way. So can you put this into a box? Yes, and it's difficult. We get questions a lot around our business plan and sort of what materials can you give us from other museums around the country. And we'll probably get to a point where we want to do something like that, but you're looking at year 3 or something. We want to be really great at it first. Yeah.
You did do a presentation for AARP 2 weeks ago over at, it was the Dali presentation 2 weeks ago over there for AARP membership. You had 80 people in that room rocking. You could have gone for 3 more hours. Didn't you see how engaged they were? I mean, that room was just really alive with what you were doing. I think it was pretty proud.
Now I'm going to feel shortchanged in here. Thank you.
Well, you saw them. They were really having a great time. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was
So there's a correlation between idea generation, production, and novelty. And so alcohol and creativity go up, 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 and then, yeah.
Well, that's why you cut it off.
You'll find that sweet spot.
That's why pot, right? So that's why pot instead of alcohol. I do have a question.
Yes.
You might have answered this already, but I'm curious. So you work with groups, but do you work with individuals where maybe you'll set up like a weekend seminar where we can come in as individuals?
So 2 things to that. One, I want to set up a mastermind group specifically around creativity and innovation. So people from different industries can come in, non-competing companies can come in and send one representative, et cetera, and we'll tee up something. So every month, new papers get published around creativity and innovation. So we'll study those up and then present sort of nuggets out every month, and then do the same format that Mastermind really uses around setting goals for each participant and accountability. That's the real value right there. So we'll do that as an open enrollment program, but then also open enrollment classes. So maybe once a month or once a quarter, we're going to tee up a special class. And I think I'd like to really be able to pair it with the exhibit that happens to roll through. So we just had Da Vinci, and my dream was to have an invention class ready to roll for that one. I didn't. For Escher, I'll have a Lego series play class ready to go. And then August 22nd, Escher. And then Disney in January, we'll have an imagination class. And those will be open enrollment.
So you're dealing with the idea generation part, but experience says that the real quagmire is in implementation. Do you provide any assistance to your customers in actually dealing with the organizational change issues and stuff of implementing ideas?
Yeah, so we don't want to be we don't want to be on the delivery side of sort of implementation, but we do want to be along for the ride, and that's where the frameworks come into play. So engagements for us in an ideal situation, we're there as an OD partner over time, as opposed to you come in for a 60-minute session or a half-day session or a one-day session, and then you never see us again. We know, because I completely agree, like the shotting the arm approach to creativity, like you come to the workshop and now you're creative and everything you do at work is going to smell great, whatever, you know. We know that that doesn't work. So we're looking for longer term engagements. I think for us, and back to Sean's point about how do you optimize the space and then scale, we're really looking for maybe 10 or 12 companies that could have us on retainer. And so we're constantly providing value throughout the year on any project that they need. So our home-based business there on site at the museum could be optimized in that way. So we're along for all of it. We don't want to just be the spot where you come up with new ideas, because we can be an implementation partner in that way. a coach, a guide, a Sherpa, because new ideas need help. And the people who are embedded in it aren't always the best people to get it done.
It's a tough area to play.
Absolutely. Well, I like that because, you know, you gotta have, I want to say this, cojones to want to do that, right? Because if you deliver a bad experience once, you're never going to get that job again. Right? So you gotta, I mean, you have to do it every time.
Talk about what you're doing to get the word out, from a marketing standpoint, PR, things like that. That thought about any kind of referral network help us.
Yeah, so we're in a fortunate position in that the infrastructure of the museum is already, everything's there, everything's in place. I get to lean on all the other departments there, including marketing. So we've got a great director of marketing in Kathy Greif there, whose previous experience came from the Discovery Channel and network of properties there, and also Turtles. And she had the product side down really, really well, and she gets the e-commerce side, and so I'm excited to be able to tap into that. We're really looking at sort of the in-house toolkit of social media, sort of the audience they've already built up, the brand that they've already got. I mean, Dali's a global brand. There's a guy like me, what else can you ask for, right? Being able to position our tools and our stuff underneath that brand is match made in heaven.
I would imagine, though, that right now a lot of people don't know that this is there.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, that's when I look at how I'm going to be spending the majority of my time. You know, when I'm not delivering, I really have to be on the awareness building side.
Are you looking at this as strictly a nonprofit program by the Dali, or is it potentially an outside investor could be brought in, it's spun off as a for-profit, maybe company, licensing, franchising, some type of extended business model?
Yeah, so I think that's what really gets me excited about the new product development opportunities. I think there's an opportunity to develop a third-party tech company to really virtualize some of the IP that the museum has. So when you look at different opportunities around consumer and enterprise apps to support creativity and creative problem solving in particular, I think that's the real opportunity there. And I know I'm very interested in those conversations, and I've set up this program to be able to work.
Sounds weird. I just keep hearing the word Menlo Park, Menlo Park, Menlo Park, kept popping into my head, and I just see it being true Silicon Valley, and not leaving the Dali. Maybe the Dali owns a percentage of the new company, but
Yep.
you know.
So when you're looking at creative fundraising mechanisms or how do you support the museum in an ongoing way, my dream is always to be able to generate enough revenue to expand the collection. I think that's the real job. I mean, that's why the institution exists, right? It's to preserve Dali's works for all time and share with everybody in the world, right? So I'd love it for this program to be in service of that objective and to help on that front. I know there are maybe 10 or 12 paintings in the world that aren't available per se, but could be acquired. That would really complement the collection right now.
Do you look for outside talent to implement this program, or are you in-house?
Well, to scale, I think you got to have a team, and really a network of practitioners. I need somebody to be able to just deploy people around the world. If a company comes and asks us for the work, we need to be able to sort of service that.
You said you had been full-time for 2 months and prototyping for a couple of years, and you hit some conferences and that type of thing. Have you had any initial success in getting corporations to come in and sign up?
Yeah, so we started with the board of the museum. That was the easiest fish to fry, right? Like, hey, try this, please, right? And from there, I mean, we've done almost no marketing, and we supported some of the biggest companies in the area, you know, HSN, the Rays. So we've got probably 25 companies under our belt so far. But before doing this stuff, and before, well, all of us back to, we've probably done another 100. So kind of, we know enough about what not to do, I think, to be a little bit dangerous.
Have you explored any opportunities with the education systems, with USF, Ringling, St. Pete College, to try to package this as an actual course?
For teachers? I got approached pretty recently. There's grant funding out there for teacher development, and that seems to be, I think, the most appropriate fit so far. For a program like this, you need a sponsor, essentially, and the grant is a good fit. And I'm a huge fan of teachers. I think teachers are really creative people to begin with. And if anybody needs help sort of innovating from within the box, that's the group, right? because I think they're getting stuck a little bit now. Absolutely. Experience drive creativity.
Speaking of that, I mean, we've heard of single mom in the education system. Have you worked with any of?
Not since 5th grade. No, not since 5th grade. And we'd be interested. We've worked at schools. Pineview is the one that comes to mind down in Sarasota, one of the top ranked schools in the entire country, all gifted. I think the only all gifted Florida school, but they come up once or twice a year and do a program. But at the same time, I'd like to be able to support not just gifted programs, et cetera, but people who are widely applicable.
High schools just got a huge Gates Foundation grant, and there's going to be some new programs that are going to be running within some of the schools, specifically like the reopening Wheelman High School with just this program, so 60 students that will be coming in just to go through the program. It's very collaborative, individualized learning as a community. They're all starting this program this year.
Very good.
So those are the smart people.
We love those. Thank you.
My husband is involved.
Not quite. Could you reiterate for us what this community can do to help you expand your business within the Dali?
Yeah. Very easy challenge. Very easy your corporate learning opportunity. Very easy your retreat business. Very easy your tech down if you're interested in that new product development collaboration opportunity, or looking up for a meeting.
Well, thank you, Nate. So a bit of an unusual day for us here. We do only have one presenter, but the cool thing about Nate and his business is you can call him up in the middle of the night and say, hey, we only have one presenter. Do you have any interesting activities to do for the second half? He said, I do, in fact, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because you would tell me I can't do it. So, very excited for that. I don't know what it'll be. We do have a few events to touch on. Tech Jam is coming up on the 20th. That's the event where a bunch of programmers and geeks and nerds, people who look like Sean Davis, people who look like Daniel Scott, get together, show their musical chops, and play to support TechStart, which is a great organization that helps provide technology and training to K-12 students. Is that correct? Yes. Is that a fair representation? For more information on that, Daniel will be happy to talk to you afterwards, or you can watch for our emails. Startup Grind, anybody know who the guest for Startup Grind is? I don't remember. Well, Startup Grind is existing this month, and they will have a guest. And if past performance is any indication, that will be a very interesting guest in the entrepreneurial technology community. For more information, see our email. Then coming up on the 27th, Ignite Tampa Bay, which is kind of a cooler version of TED. You know, TED is pretty boring now, right? You don't like TED. Give me like 2 minutes and I'm going to walk back on that. But if you'd like more information about Ignite, Sean is chairing that or running that this year. That's coming up at the Ritz.
It'll be at the Human Club on the 27th.
And Ignite is pretty played out, and I know you guys are sick of it. So there's a cool event called TEDx that's actually coming up after that on the 29th down at Riverwalk. Joe, are you still involved with TEDx? So more information, Joe,
Big TEDx is it's at the Palladium, and it's I think September 5th.
Okay, so this side of the Bay TEDx September 5th, that side of the Bay TEDx August 29th. Plenty of information. If you're not getting those emails, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, there's a sign-in sheet right by the door over there. Please sign in. We send you an email, tell you about who's presented here, how you can help them, what events are upcoming in the Bay Area, and how to contact the folks that are running those events. Hopefully I've been long enough. Is that good? I appreciate it. So I would like to introduce you all to Nathan Schwagler of the Dali's Edge Labs program, who who has an interesting activity that I'm going to do.
Hi. I love crayons. Anybody ever used these before? Something delightful about a crayon is that 5th grade, right? You can take a crayon and kind of rub it between your fingers and your nose, and you will automatically be transformed back to 2nd grade. It is a delightful, beautiful exercise. It costs you almost nothing, and you get to remember what it's like to be a kid. So, that, and because I wasn't sure that everybody would have a pen, I brought crayons because I want you to do a little bit of thinking right now. And it's thinking in service of the fabulous 1 Million Cups program that we have here. So hopefully you have 1, 2, 3 post-it notes, something like that. If you don't, they're coming around. And if you have something to write with, if you wouldn't mind taking that out now, that would be awesome, or really helpful. And if you don't have something to write with, we have crayons coming around. So give you 30 seconds to get that started. And if you're one of my students and you're in here now, I saw a couple of you floating around, please help Anne-Marie out and distribute some crayons. Your first task, this is a fun, again, kind of warm-up exercise. I want you to draw the person next to you. I want you to draw them. And you've got 30 seconds to do it. The clock starts now. Okay, pull this route.
Yeah, I like your own.
And time. Crayons, pens, markers down. Let's talk about this for a second. That looks good. All right, initial gut reaction when I said draw your neighbor. What came to mind? Fear, right? We're like, oh crap. Oh shit, right? Why? That's the question I have about being judged, right? Like, I'm worried that my thing isn't going to be, sort of represent your beauty, or I don't know how to So this is a fun, kind of goofy little exercise, but at the same time, I think there are very serious implications for this. Because this is about much more than just drawing people's faces next to you and meetings or something like that, which I thoroughly endorse. But also, I think anytime you get charged with doing something new or doing something that you don't feel skilled or competent at, there's this sort of underlying fear, terror that takes over. I wrote a book pretty recently with 2 other colleagues of mine and one of the interviews that we had done as a case study came out around from Edward Norton. Does everybody know who Edward Norton is? Yeah, highly skilled, critically acclaimed, award-winning actor. So, yeah, you're really great actor, right? Amongst others, right? Fight Club, American History X, Rounders. I mean, the guy's been in a whole bunch of really great movies, right? So he's got this this description of any time he gets asked to do something new, he says there's this inherent terror that takes over him. And he said it's really strange because I've been doing this for 20 years or whatever, right? Like I've won awards, other people tell me I'm good at this stuff. He goes, I feel like I'm brand new. And he goes, I sweat through multiple undershirts per day. And it's sort of, so there's a psychological term for it. People who achieve a certain level of skill in their discipline or their domain, as you continue to move up and you start working with more highly skilled people around you, you start to feel like you don't belong. And it affects a lot of people. I think entrepreneurs are a particularly vulnerable population to that. But so you asked me if there's something I want to send out in a follow-up email. I'll send out information about that. Thank you. So yeah, I think this is a good exercise to kind of get out of your own way. It's fun, and now you have a gift to give your neighbor. So hand that post over to whoever you drew. Have some fun.
I didn't make any credit. Is that her? It could be anywhere. So welcome here. Welcome
So I highly recommend it. If you run meetings, take this exercise. Have some fun with it because it's a great way to sort of, everybody's on an equal, level footing after this one, I promise. Yeah, if you want to have another one or two post-its. Because the next question I have is, I would like to know what you love about 1 Million Cups of Coffee. Why do you come here every week? What's the value in it for you? So what do you appreciate most, or what do you love about 1 Million Cups? Now, the frame I want to put around is that I'm going to limit you to 140 characters. So you can tweet this response to me on this post-it note. So do your best to keep it to a 140-ish. What do you love about 1 Million Cups?
I won't be embarrassed if you say me.
I just wrote you.
Give you another 15 seconds. Pens and crayons just slowing down. So could I ask for a couple volunteer shout-outs? Yes, sir. What do you love about 1 Million Cups?
The energy, the excitement, the fun, the common goals.
Amen. I'll bring to that. Specifically, Kyle. Yes, sir.
I love that it challenges my thought preconceptions.
Absolutely.
Talk.
Yes, sir.
How do you perceive other people's presentations?
Yeah.
I'm just hearing new ideas that you never know what you're going to get.
New ideas, you never know what you're going to get. Sure.
This is by far the smartest and most creative group of people that I get together with every week. I get together with a lot of people. There's a lot of
Yes, in fact.
I like to exercise my mind and I love intellectual discussion.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. It's a great place for that, right?
The new ideas encourage me to think outside the box in my own business.
Absolutely, right? If you want to have a good idea, it helps to have one to jump off of, right? Call them lily pad on this.
collaborative mood.
Collaborative mood, right? Great energy. Right?
Connections. People are always trying to help other people make the right connections.
Very cool. Very cool. Last one.
Community creative energy, creating positive momentum for our city every 7 days.
How many characters was that? I love it. Nice to meet ask you to pass them this way, if you don't mind. And Anne Marie, our wonderful intern at the Innovation Lab, here at not the mug shots, just yours. All right, question number 2. I promise there are only 3. We'll let you a little bit early today. Yeah. If you need more post-it notes, Andrew's going to come around. Yeah, question number 2. Number 3. In the same 100-character, 140-character format, what's the best entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial/business lesson you've ever learned? Anywhere. Yeah. Don't forget it. Okay. Lesson learned. Could be entrepreneurial or business in general. 140 characters. Volunteers? Yes, sir.
That what I believe in and intend will manifest.
You got to find it yourself, else nobody else will, right? Use your own money.
Everything starts with a vision, and you are the combined sum of the 5 degrees from one line.
Very cool. Good advice.
Gain customer input early to determine product market fit.
Amen. Failure to do so is very correct.
This I keep hanging over my desk. It's in the moment of any decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. How to make a persuasive pitch.
How to make a persuasive pitch.
Be true to you and your values.
You are correct.
Do the hard things first.
Do the hard things first.
Hard work beats talent.
Hard work beats talent.
Get out there.
Get out.
Back with wild and crazy people.
Reasonable risk is required to make great things happen.
Absolutely.
It's okay to tell.
Okay.
So Steve Blank, it was the safety maker, lifetime marketing team in the office of fire sort of out there.
Yeah. Daniel, I don't know if he's snuck out of here, but he used to always say, and I think he was channeling Blank as well, or cartoon from one of my books, but the desk is a terrible place from which to treat the world.
Yeah, I heard. I always saw Blank.
Yeah. Love that.
Be careful when you think you know.
Be kind, open to everything positive, and devoted to reason.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's one.
Trust your gut and don't limit your thinking.
Trust your gut and don't limit your thinking. All right, buy in on one. This is fantastic. Same process to the left, please. Or to So I just posted, because we've got Escher coming in on August 22nd at Dali. He's got this great quote. I put a picture up. He goes, "Are you really sure a floor can also be a ceiling?" And if you know Escher, then floors are ceilings, right? So my left is yours, right? Oh, wait, right to left. All right, last question.
Yeah.
Last round, last round. All right, if you were to think about a venture or a project that you had a lot of passion for, you're really good to, at some point in your life, it could be now, it could be previously, but what's one thing you really wish you knew before you started? 140 characters. What do you wish you knew before you started? Could be a significant project, could be a venture, new career move, business umbrella, entrepreneurship, got it. Just so you all know, we're going to hand these over to the team. So then throughout the year, if you happen to see your brilliance get tweeted out or posted on social media, lessons learned from the Learning Cup community in St. Pete. This isn't an exercise in privilege.
So those of you who have fudged the 140 character limit, it's a little terrible.
Maybe it cut off. Make new mistakes.
Take a picture of this post-it.
I got lots of those. All right, last round. Any volunteers? What do you wish you knew before you started?
Machiavellian politics.
Machiavellian politics?
Yeah. Everyone that was there at the beginning of the journey is not supposed to be there again.
Which may have something to do with Machiavellian politics.
Hire people smarter than yourself.
Hire people smarter than yourself.
Having that budget. Having that budget.
Budget? How's a budget? Yeah, absolutely, right?
The outcome.
The outcome. We're going to need a new program with the Dali called the Crystal Ball Work. Coming in. Yes?
I have what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur.
Amen. I agree.
Who will help?
Who will help? Yes, we run a great exercise called the Sisters and Resistors, just for that primary purpose. When you start looking at it, because you'd ask about how do you implement creativity, like coming up with the idea can sometimes be the easy part, right? Depending on the range of novelty, or the distance between how creative the idea is relative to the system it needs to go into, it needs more Sherpa help along the way. So Sisters and Resistors and stakeholder analysis are a key exercise to do in between the novelty injection point and where, the idea where it came up from. So
The closet resistors, those are always.
Closet resistors.
They look like a sisters, but they're really.
Yeah. So how to determine as fast as possible and minimal damage. The acid test on that. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a question about you work kind of one-on-one with people. So when I used to do a lot of coaching at Eckerd College, the Leadership Development Institute, more often than not, almost everybody who would come through that program always had a similar concern. Like they feel like their job is to go create external value, like company assets, but they're always having to look sort of this way, parallel, adjacent, and then behind them internally at the company. And that was so distracting that it made it difficult to focus on creating value outside.
Can I ask you a question? What would you say is the most important thing you've learned in your own personal experience in this field?
Think about that, and I'll send it to these guys if they want to send it out. Creativity hurts sometimes. One more?
Are you
Two
gonna
more?
tweet our pictures?
What's that?
Are you gonna tweet out all of our?
Oh, hopefully, I mean, well, the drone shooting onto the other person, those are gifts. Yes?
There are more resources available than we know. There's no shortage, it's just who the learning is at.
Brilliant. I like that a lot.
Say that again?
Yeah, please.
There are more resources available than we know. There's no shortage, it's just who the learning is at.
Yeah, that's about being, talk about sort of possibility-oriented thinking for sure, right? Yeah, I love entrepreneurial plays that are just a combination of existing assets, like people don't create a vehicle and then the network to execute, right? Or leveraging combined assets, et cetera, organize and leverage. One more. Yes, sir.
Power of persistence.
The power of persistence, right? Overnight success on average takes X number of years. Right?
You got coffee?
Did I see one more hand pop up? Yes.
Yeah, who feels the pain, and is that really the target of the project?
Oh, absolutely. So that product market fit, ever elusive, but so critical.
Take 100% responsibility for
Interesting.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. Awesome. So with that, I'll invite you to send them down to your right. Andrew's going to collect them. We're going to hand them over to 1 Million Cups team. And with that, I thank you so much for joining us again this morning.
Hey guys, thanks again for coming today. I am Betsy, the newest organizer. My face isn't up there yet. Thank you again for coming. 1millioncups.com/St. for more information. And if you know anybody in the community who wants to come present, please encourage them to submit an application to us. And also at Tech Garage, located inside of St. Pete, we offer free co-working space for today. Just for attending 1 Million Cups, and then we've also rolled out a new program that we offer co-working space for $50 from 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. That's $50 a month. So, yep. So feel free to ask any questions. We'll be here. Enjoy your day. See you guys next week.